Hello Nakamas, welcome back. In this video we're gonna talk about Dune is a 1965 epic sci-fi novel by Frank Herbert. Filmmaker Alexander attempted to make a movie film based on novel, but it was almost impossible because of the growing budget eventually getting cancelled. Then David Lynch took melange in his own hands and said, "Let's make Dune." 1984 mein movie came out. Then fast forwarding to present 2021, Denis Villeneuve arrived late at the scene and said,
"Fine. I'll do it myself."
The first movie was basically a setup to a larger event. Movie was 3 hours long. But you guys know how a good movie never feels long. No matter the duration, Frank Herbert has put 5 years just R&Ding a planet ecosystem. This sci-fi fiction was one of the earliest outer space universe saga. Dune had a huge impact on our most popular movies like Star Wars. This guy has created a complex future civilization that in 1950s and 60s. It involves religion, politics, culture. It basically means that this has everything that you're looking for. Are you looking for great sound design? Hans Zimmer's got you covered. Are you looking for a good sci-fi lore which gives a slight hint of Game of Thrones, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings? This has literally everything. Dune 1 is on Netflix right now. Go on and watch that tonight because I said so. Because trust me bro, because Dune is fantastic. I think you should give it a try once. You might like it. Still not inspired to watch? Then keep watching this and subscribe. Let's go. Dune is a planet named Arrakis, a desert planet. Dune is so dry. I mean, literally imagine a place where life of a tree is measured in human lives.
100 lives.
Where spitting is a sign of respect to give your body's moisture to each other. This planet's ecosystem is a masterpiece. From how animals preserve body water to how people who live there savor every drop of their body moisture. Arrakis is fully covered by dunes of sand, which contains the most valuable resource of this world, spice. Not as spices. This spice is important for various reasons like human enhancement, doing machine-like calculations and absorbing large amount of data and processing it, medical advancement, like so many things you can do with spice. But one main resource spice is used for is interstellar space travel. It is almost impossible to travel in space without spice. And now you ask, where are the machines and technology which helps in space travel or somewhat tools or kuch to hoga na unke paas? An alternative must be there, but no, there is none. I'll tell you the rough past. The story is actually based years after the machine versus human wars, and humans have erased every machine in the entirety. They started building an AI, then machines to build machines. They mainly focused on biological/bionic tech. This story is about Paul Atreides of the House Atreides. They live on a planet called Aladdin. No, Kaladin. Kuladan? God, I'm gonna have so many mispronunciation in this video. But who's watching? There are houses in this world just like Game of Thrones. It is very good. And there is House Harkonnen. One second. Harkonnen. House of Harkonnen. Both of these houses, Atreides and Harkonnen, are big rivals. Just like Ronaldo and Messi, Tom and Jerry, CSK, Emma, Goku, Vegeta. Also there is an empire called Imperium. Just like Star Wars. Duke Leto Atreides, father of Paul, gets order from Imperium. We get introduced to the main Harkonnen leader, Vladimir Harkonnen, Urf Baron Harkonnen. He's very moist.
Never dream of violating the sanctity of your order.
And one thing you will inevitably notice that he is bad. The Harkonnens are bad. Period. Imperium orders the house to move to Arrakis to foresee the harvest of spice on the planet Arrakis, aka Dune. Paul's mother, Lady Jessica of the Bene Gesserit. Bene Gesserits have magical powers like wizards. They can command humans against their will from their voice, and this group is all female as male cannot pass the cruel and painful process of becoming a Bene Gesserit. Okay. They are the ones who have planted the superstition of the one. We'll dig into that in part 2. People who are living on the planet Arrakis are known as Fremen. Zendaya is one of them and her name is Chani. Paul is a special kid as his mother fought for him to give birth to the boy and not a girl, as Bene Gesserit carefully plan the partners and they do selective breeding. So one day they can have the Messiah or the one who will carry the will of Quashat Haderach. I don't know how this Quashat Haderach. A mind powerful enough to bridge space and time. As he has shown some signs for the same, they leave their home planet Caladan to serve Empire or Imperium. And this is where the story starts. We meet Duncan Idaho, who's a warrior swordsmaster. Paul and him are bros. Then we meet Gurney, a weapon master and a guru to Paul, also a very good friend to him. And in the old film Dune, Gurney was played by none other than Patrick Stewart.
Not in the mood. Mood's a thing for cattle and love play, not fighting.
I'm sorry, Gurney.
Not sorry enough.
Now this is very interesting. This character is a musician who plays a very interesting and difficult to learn instrument, Baliset. In 2021 Dune, we get Thanos, Josh Brolin, who is actually very perfectly casted because he's the only person on the planet who can play Baliset and he is very skillful at it. Check it out.
I've been playing the balisette actually since I was about 7 or 8 years old.
You're a prodigy.
Which is why I was hired for this. I'm the only person who plays the balisette.
Both Duncan and Gurney are loyal and pledged to House Atreides. And Paul Atreides has been trained by these gentlemen. You know he is the MC. Check the scene out where they introduce new defense tool which is very interesting. Before leaving for Arrakis, father and son have a very deep conversation about leadership and loyalty.
A great man doesn't seek to lead. He's called to it. And he answers.
I've always loved Oscar Isaac on the screen, and this guy shines in this character. Atreides make their way to Arrakis and they know how to make an entrance. They arrive at the planet and traversal was actually just them taking off and this middle scene and then landing on Arrakis. We get introduced to this guy, Thusir Harvard, who is a mented. Short mein bolu to menteds are high functioning humans. They are trained to mimic computers. Human minds are developed to staggering heights of cognitive and analytical ability. As established by Frank in the novel, following the defeat of the thinking machines, humanity in the Butlerian Jihad, it was forbidden to create sentient machines. Mentats are capable of processing large data and create outcomes which are beyond the logical solutions from a normal human. To welcome the new ruler of Arrakis, women are gathered and when they see Paul, they chant one name. It's the same Messiah thing, I'll tell you later. Let's talk about the father of Paul and leader of House Atreides, Duke Leto. He's a good character, he is true to his house, he's a good leader. So weeks before the Atreides arrival, they had sent few of their men to Arrakis for inspection and get to know the Fremen better by being with them. Duncan was with them and he returns and reports back to the base. They get to know from him he's been living with the Fremen for 4 weeks, learn their ways. He brings a Fremen with him, Stilgar, a leader of the hidden community called Siege. It's hidden because it's underground. The planet is filled with caverns. He saw 10,000 people in the single siege and he adds hundreds of such sieges spanned across the planet. Harkonnen's estimation was 50,000 on the entire planet, but there were millions of them. He also acknowledges the Fremen and the desert power and how good they are as fighters. Duke gets to know that Harkonnen had left most their old and defective harvest vehicles. He explores the desert in order to get a closer look into the process of harvest. And he is accompanied by one of the freemen named Leet Kais. She is kind of mediator between the Fremen and Imperium. She is also an imperial ecologist. Now these are called ornithopters. Reading a book will make you visualize it in your head. It was very interesting to see on the screen visualized, and they nailed it. Check this video out on how they made the pleasing sound of these thopters. While they were patrolling in the desert, they see a spice harvester. Carryalls are the carrier ships which carry the huge and heavy machinery used to harvest melange / spice. Now let me tell you where the melange comes from. In this desert planet, we have large sized sandworms, some of them as big as this serpent in God of War. These creatures live under the desert and they are responsible for the creation of the spice. They basically poop out the spice. And that is how, my friends, the valuable spice is made. Shy hulud are attracted to rhythmic vibrations and movement that happen on the surface of the planet. Mostly they are called by thumpers by Fremen. You gotta walk like Fremen to not grab attention of the desert worm. These creatures are worshipped by Fremen and they have given them the name Shy hulud. Here's what happens when a harvester is planted. They have a very short time to collect spice, as the movement in the sand will attract a sandworm. It can swallow anything that comes in the proximity of this creature. So to prevent them from the machinery to get swallowed, carryalls will lift the harvester away by the time creature gets there. The harvester is harvesting, a worm is alerted by its location and is approaching towards them. Time for carryalls to do its thing, but as the machines are old and faulty, they fail to attach one hook onto the harvester. Now sandworm is closing in. Duke steps in and takes action. He takes all three of the thopters and plans to rescue people from the harvester by fitting them into the three thopters which they were patrolling in. In this particular scene, we figure the kind of leader Duke is. Paul thought of taking a stroll while this is happening. Lodu Al-Gaib. This is where he comes in contact with Spice for the first time. He gets visions of the event which are happening in the future. Just like Doctor Strange's time stone powers, he can see visions of possible events. In this moment, Paul says, remember that. Now our boy Paul is exposed to spice. They go back to the base. Duke scolds him like every father would.
You have responsibilities.
And he replies what every son would.
I'm sorry, sir. It won't happen again. Go.
Duke Leto is expressing his concern on the harvesting because they were basically thugged by the Harkonnens' faulty machines. Kais warns him about the desert being not kind to humans and machines. She also tells him to take good care of his family. As if she knows something bad is going to happen. Paul gets checked by the family doc. Nah, just a random guy. Dr. Yu, a personal physician of Leto. This guy can detect diseases and take diagnosis just by touching them. He concludes it was hallucination due to spice, but Paul disagrees. He says it wasn't a dream, it was a vision, and he could see a very hazy future. And he's like,
I know you're pregnant.
so Paul has now unlocked some new powers to see the future. I wanted to let you know, guys, that I am unfolding very minimal and there are a lot of scenes which I totally omitted, so you will inevitably have to watch. Later that night, Hugh gives them, all of them, sleeping tablets here. Yeah, this never changed in the future. Everyone gets cozy and gets a good night's sleep. So this happened when they were sleeping. Harkonnens suppress attacks in the middle of the night when everyone was sleeping and most of were killed. Duke Leto was betrayed by Dr. Hugh, whose reason of treason was wife being captive to the Harkonnen, but deep inside Hugh was loyal and made a plan to poison the Harkonnen with Duke. Planted a fake tooth with poison. When Duke crushes it and exhales, everyone would die. And this is what exactly happens. And Baron somehow survives by jumping on the roof. What? If you're wondering who survived, Thanos survived. Duncan after some fight and some of my favorite flying action. Survived. Where is Jessica and where is our MC right now? What are they doing? They were sleeping, right? They were taken hostages and were planned to drop them in the desert. And this is where we see Bene Gesserit in action.
Remove her gag. Kill him!
They find a beacon or a bag where Paul finds his father's family ducal ring, which was kept by Dr. Yu. They escape into the deep desert. This is where we see Mudeeb, a small desert mouse. They build a tent. This tent is a Pro Max. This can collect all of the water from the body and store it to drink it later. Wow. Cut scene to the naked Duke Leto, who is being captured by Baron with Dr. Yu. Baron kills Dr. Yu, and when he is about to finish Leto, he crushes his tooth and kills everyone in the room except this filthy animal. Lady Jessica and Paul get to know about death of Duke from their Gesserit power. They get out of the tent with a sun compactor. Watching your home and your whole family lineage burn down is cinematic but sad. Duncan and Kais find them in the desert, and Kais take them to an ecological testing station. Again, they get a surprise attack from Sardaukars. Sadly, Duncan dies here protecting them from Sardaukars, just like in the vision which Paul gets in the beginning. Kais tries to escape but fails to call Shai Hulud on time and eventually gets swallowed by the sandworm. RIP. Paul and Jessica escape in the Thopter and get trapped in the sandworm, where Paul gets the first vision of Jamis, who is Fremen. Thopter lastly gives up and crashes. They wear their still suits and the special body enclosing suit designed to collect and recycle all of the moisture, and the body releases to perspiration, urine, feces, and even the acceleration of water vapor in the breath. Wow. So this mother and son are walking into the warm territory. Paul knows the Fremen walk from his journals and his classes. This walk is used in sandworm area to break the rhythmic pattern you make while walking to avoid the sandworms from detecting your location. Yeah, and it's a little weird, but you'll get used to it. And they start their journey to find the Fremen on foot. They walk and 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 walk, and they finally meet Fremen and the leader of the siege, the same guy from Aragon. Apne Penelope Cruz ke husband. And this is where we reach the climax of the first part. I do not want to spoil it for you, although I had planned for a detailed breakdown for part 1, but I thought why not write only few parts about the lore, and rest you guys can experience it for yourselves. After this very small and interesting setup, this is where the real story begins. So now I hope you guys have a general idea and understanding of the world of the Dune. Dune Part 2 is in the cinema since March 1, so you might have missed the chance to watch it in the IMAX, but if you still do, then please do watch it in IMAX, and you can thank me later in comments.